listening to A1R Psychic Radio, Earth's #1 psychic radio network, and watching Moonstruck TV, enlightening television. Welcome. And Reverend Elliot's Magical Window. Elliot, live from magic-works.com. Connect direct. In North America, dial 888-454-2751. In London, 20-3519-2158. In Sydney, dial 02-8488-3147. Or online, contact us through our Facebook page, facebook.com/psychic radio. Or one of our websites, askoneradio.com or moonstruck.tv. This is Reverend Elliot's Magical Window on A1R, the Ask One Radio Network.
Greetings, fellow seekers of truth, wisdom, and light. This is your old buddy, your friendly neighborhood esoteric practitioner, Reverend Elliot, coming to you live from the city of New York, where we get together every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific. I did it again. I did that last week, too. I said mountain. It's like I've run out of tea. You know, I've been drinking a lot of tea lately, and I've run out of tea. 9 Mountain. These letters, you know, we only have, 26 of them? Maybe 58. I don't know. I've always felt that there were some letters they were hiding. I don't trust them. So I have to go leave one out of a word. 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific. And we are going to look through the magical window of the tarot, where we can find out what's coming up in our lives. We can find out what is going on in our lives that we don't know about. Things that people don't want you to know about, we can find out. If there's somebody who is at the office, for instance, if you're still working in an office as opposed to home, you know, if somebody's making things bad for you, hey, you know, we can look to see what's going on. There's all kinds of things. Court cases show up in the tarot. People call, ask me about things like love and romance, and then I see that there's a court case going on, and I ask them, and there is. That's what tarot does. It gets right to the heart of the matter. And how does it do that? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Don't even believe anyone who says they know. But I have a few theories, and I list them all in my book, Reverend Elliot's Magical Window, which you can get for yourself if you want to learn how to do this. I think it's a swell way to help people, and it's fun to do at parties. You know, people love it. You just do little readings. I mean, I do fat things here, but you could do 2 or 3 minute readings, a minute party. People just love it. They eat it up, and that you can do it free if you want to get practice. That's the practice in anything is offered to do. But after a while, when you're good at it, then you can just start charging a nice, rational, normal fee to do it at a party. I've done this at art gallery openings and in restaurants. I've done it in bars. They've hired me to do it. And it's always a good thing. You know what the best time of that, the most fun, is when a bar wants to have a Mardi Gras celebration, and they do it on Mardi Gras. And you just sit there and read cards for the customers. They just love that stuff. It's just fun. So what we're going to do tonight is take another glimpse through the magical window of the tarot. And if you enjoy what you hear and you see the possibilities in this being able to help you, all you've got to do to get a longer reading is contact me at asktarot@earthlink.net. That's ASKTAROT at earthlink.net. It's my nice old-fashioned email, Earthlink. And we have all the time in the world together. You know, when we get on the phone, it's you and me and nobody else. I don't put you on hold for anyone else. I don't leave you waiting. It's just you and me. And we can do it by Skype if you want, if you don't want to do it by phone. I do these things all over the world for people. And the readings, you know, an email reading is just $10. But it'll look deeply at an issue in your life, and you get a 2-page report from me. Now, if you want to do a full reading with me, great. I can do it for 15 minutes, a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, even longer, whatever you want. And you can find the rates at magic-works.com, magic-works.com. Just scroll on down and you'll see the rates, because I believe in listing the rates ahead of time so that you know what you're getting into. And we don't charge any more than that. Once you and I agree on something, that's the price. Even if it takes a little longer, so what? We throw that in as extra. Because, you know, this is unpredictable. As you'll hear in the show tonight, sometimes a reading goes longer than we thought. So what we do is we just keep going. Anyway, that's just letting you know that I'm available. And this is a very good time. A lot of people are nervous. A lot of people are anxious now. There is, as I've mentioned before, there's a lot of highly paid media people whose job is to scare us. And we've been through bad times before. There's no reason to make this into a panic. And getting people scared is how some people make an awful lot of money. And you know something? Sometimes people do that with tarot too. And that's why I say to people, when they ask me, how should I pick a tarot reader? Anytime you go to a reader, just apply the same thing that you would with any other professional. If you feel worse after dealing with that person than you did before, then you don't go back to that person. They're pulling a scam on you. So, you know, if you get a reading from somebody who says, oh, look at that. I see that you're cursed. Got to go now, you know, and then they call you back and say, oh, by the way, I was thinking, now that you're cursed, I could get rid of that for you. Now, you see, that is a racket. The ethical tarot reader doesn't exploit people. You know, people who call it a tarot reader trust the person, and it's up to us to honor and respect that trust. And that's why, as a member of the American Tarot Association, I'm not just a long-time member, but I'm on the board of directors. I'm the vice president of communications, and can't you tell I'm a professional communicator? But if you want to go to my website at magic-works.com, and when you scroll down and you look for the rates for a personal tarot reading between you and me, you'll also find a link to the American Tarot Association Code of Ethics. You see, and you look at that, and you'll see that is how an honest tarot reader behaves. And if we find out that a member of the ATA is violating those rules, that's it. They're out. No second chance either, because it's trust. It's a matter of trust. And you know, you're calling a stranger, for goodness sakes, and you're opening up and you're telling what's going on in your life. Now, you cannot take advantage of that in good conscience. I'll give you a perfect example. I have had calls from people in these past 2 weeks who want to pay me for a reading to see if they're going to die in the near future. Now, as I said, there's fear out there. Now, what kind of a human being would I be if I took money to exploit that? I mean, then I would be as bad as the newspaper publishers who scream, could this be the end of the world? Could 5 billion people die? You know, there's an old law. And by the way, I'm a journalist myself. I mean, I have a lot of journalism history. And I'll tell you something, that there is a law called Betteridge's Law of Headlines. I want you to keep this in mind. You can look it up. They have a marvelous website. Betteridge's Law of Headlines says any headline that ends with a question mark can be answered by the word no. That is going to ease you a lot. And as I said last week, I believe it was, any headline that has the word could in it or may or reportedly is garbage. It's just a way to critically look at this, because like I said, there are a lot of people out there who want us scared so that we would tune in and raise their click rate, raise their viewing audience if it's cable. And that means big money to those people. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing to be concerned about. Of course there's something to be concerned about now. But to exploit that and scare people and hurt them, that's unconscionable. And I, as an ethical tarot reader, will never, ever, ever, ever do that. And I'm telling you now, if you call me for a reading and we decide to, say, do a 20-minute reading, and at the end of 20 minutes, I see something pretty bad coming your way, I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to keep looking at I'm not going to say, hey, look at that. Your life's falling apart. Bye-bye now. No, that's why I never book calls, tarot readings back to back. You know, back to back would mean I'm stuck. I'm locked in. I don't do it. I probably make a bit more money that way, you know, an assembly line way of doing it. But no, I've got to prepare for the chance that the cards may be telling you something you don't want to hear, and we can work through it. Now, I don't really believe that there's such thing as a bad reading, not like in those movies where everybody gets a tarot reading, ends up being killed by like a polar bear in the middle of August in Waikiki. You know, I don't believe that, but it can show you things you don't want to see. Now, that rarely happens because the people who call a tarot reader for advice are very positive people, and they're taking steps, they're taking action to work out whatever the situation in their life is. So that indicates a very positive outcome just by doing that, by taking action. So don't fall for those movies that try to scare you about tarot. That's just cheap horror sensationalism. It's, you know, Hey, what can I tell you? You'll know. This is fun to do. I wouldn't have been doing this for 30 years if I didn't enjoy doing it and meeting people and helping people clarify them. And as an adjunct to that, I do magical ritual work so that if something comes your way in your cards that you're not too thrilled about, I can show you how to do some ritual work to get around that. Enough about that. You're going to hear what I do. No point in me telling you what I do. Why don't I just do it? So I've got the incense burning, I've got the candles burning, and I'm going to ring a bell 3 times now to declare that from here on in, we're in sacred space. Now I'm going to pull back the curtain on the magical window for Connie in Litchfield, Minnesota. Hi, Connie, you're on with Reverend Elliot.
Hi.
Hi, Connie, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing better. I'm getting over all the crud.
Well, maybe we can make that even better. How's that? What would you like to look at?
What I want to know is, the guy that I'm currently dating or seeing, is he the one that I'm supposed to be with? Because I don't know if it feels right or not.
Well, you mean the violins aren't playing? And the soundtrack in the background and all that. I think Hollywood has ruined romance for people, you know. I mean, I don't know. It's Hollywood has given people such weird expectations about romance. I was involved with a woman once for a couple of years, and she was really happy and said to me, you know something? I'm so happy with you, I'm going to leave you. What? She said, because if I'm this happy with you, imagine how much happier I'll be with somebody better. And
right.
I said, oh, okay. And then she said, but don't worry, if I don't find anyone better, I'll come back to you. And I said, you do that and see what happens. You know?
Yeah. I take it you didn't see her again, right?
Oh, I saw her from time to time, but no dice, you know. I mean, we ran into each other here and there. But after that, gosh, this is going back long before most of you listeners were born, right? But I've been married now for over 30 years, you know. So, boy, am I going to get in trouble for not knowing. I'm going to get in trouble for not knowing the exact date right offhand, you know.
Yeah.
But it's 34 years now. So let's see. Let's take a look at what you've got, because this call is about you, not about me. Now, here we go. This is an excellent card for what I just asked, because it's the 7 of Cups. Cups are about romance because it's about emotion and things of the heart. The 7 of Cups may be indicating what's going on here, because that's a person with unfocused ideas. So you really don't quite know for sure if this is the right one.
Right.
The next card.
Yeah, I don't, because I have kind of a habit of picking people that aren't always so good. So that's why I'm just
you and everyone else, right? You know, I used to be able to go into a crowded room and pick the one person who was going to be the best at ruining my life. You know?
Yep, that would be me.
Yeah, well, then a couple of years of therapy helped me out there too. But, well, you know, isn't that funny how that works? We can spot them, right? Well, let me tell you this. The next card is the Star. Now, the Star is a card of hope and optimism. So that's telling me that with this particular person, you've got a good chance.
Okay.
Now, the next card is the 4 of Rods, and that's about a happy home. And then here's an interesting card, is the 2 of Cups. The 2 of Cups is about it's about 2 different things. It could be the beginning of a new relationship, or it could mean that a relationship you're in is going to reach a new level. And that's how I'm going to interpret that in this particular reading. I say give it time, hang out, you know, get to know each other. How long have you known each other?
Only a couple months, 2 months maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So you know that's still you're just you're coming out of that.
Yeah, it's a long distance thing too, so that's hard too.
Yeah, so it's long. Oh, that adds a lot to it. Well, I'm seeing here that there's great possibilities, because I've got 2 very happy cards here. I've got the 10 of Cups and I've got the 4 of Rods, and those are 10 of Cups is perfected happiness. Now, out of 5 cards here, 3 of them are Cup cards, so that's telling me that the cards really are responding to your question, because it was about emotions and romance and love. There's a possibility, very strong possibility, that you are going to reach a new level with this person and reach a lot of happiness. So give it a little more care than you usually do, is what I'm saying, because the key to this is that first card, the Seven of Cups, unfocused ideas.
Okay.
And that's easy to fix. That'll snap into focus. And if it's still new, you only have a few months with each other. So get
Right.
into it and let it, see if it'll grow. And if it doesn't, if it doesn't, then you can try again, or give me another call, and we can see what's happening. I could probably give you a lot more detail if we were off the air and we were doing a full reading, but I don't know that you need any more than that, because this is a pretty good lesson here. Going from unfocused ideas, followed by the card of optimism, the card of a happy home, the card of a relationship reaching a new level, and then the Ten of Cups, which is perfected happiness. So I think this time you've come closer to getting what you want than you have before.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, that does feel good. And let me see if I can pull one more card. Maybe we can put it underneath all these cards to see what the underlying issue is. Well, there you go. That's the King of Cups. Now that's another cup card. So I've got 6 cards here. 4 of them are cups. So we're definitely on the right track here. The King of Cups is the manifestation of something. This is showing that the court cards are about something beginning and growing and forming. And the further on you get in the court cards, from the knight to the queen to the king to the page, it takes more and more shape. So this is telling me that it is taking shape, that this relationship is growing. And the King of Cups tells me that you are right now at a point where this is really taking shape and happening. So give it a shot, and check back with me, or if you can't get through and Ask on Radio again, because I know a lot of people try to get through but don't, drop me a line at asktarot@earthlink.net, and maybe we can arrange for another reading. How's that? So this is looking good for you, Connie, and thanks for calling. Let me just shuffle up the cards now. You are on Reverend Elliott's Magical Window. Well, some of you are on it. You're all listening anyway. You're listening to Reverend Elliott's Magical Window, where we get together to look through the magical window of the tarot. Now, you see how that worked? That was fascinating, because the only cards that I got that weren't cup cards in that call, one was about a happy home, and the other was a major card, which was about hope and optimism. So that's pretty good. Danielle in Princeton, West Virginia, you're on with Reverend Elliott. Hi, Danielle.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I just love the energy I get from doing this show. And I think that the energy builds up from all the people listening, and it just down through the satellites and over the air and right into me. And I just feel great. It's so energizing. It's just marvelous. You got a great laugh. Now, see, that helps an old stand-up performer like me. You hear somebody laugh. Why, that's good. So what can I look at for you? What can I look at? You got me laughing now.
I just want to know about my ex.
About your ex?
Yeah.
Okay, I asked that because this is a fascinating card that I got before you even asked me the question. And I've got 3 more cards in the same suit. Let me ask you, first of all, was this like a relationship that was filled with fighting?
Not really. In the end, it turned to fighting.
Okay, because so it was
we
argument.
We were together for almost 11 years, and it just in the end, we really began to fight a lot.
Well, here's why I ask you that. I have 4 cards here, and they're all swords. Now, swords are a weapon. And when swords come up, that can indicate several things. But in this case, I go with the idea that it was a kind of it got nasty, and it got to be a struggle. Let me tell you something. When I started reading tarot cards in my early youth, I was in my 30s at the time, but I was reading for a married couple who hated each other. I mean, they just hated each other. And every kind of reading, I would shuffle the cards, I would do whatever I could, it would always come out with a majority of sword. because they hated each other. Now swords they don't always mean that, but right now, when you ask me about, even before you asked me the question, I got the 10 of swords. And then I got the 4 of swords and the 6 of swords and the 2 of swords. Now, I'll tell you what that is. Overall, it's telling me that this was a kind of a tempestuous relationship, to put it kindly. The 10 of swords, the reason my ears perked up when you asked about your ex was the 10 of swords refers to something being over. So this is over, Now, the 4 of swords is where it's about somebody taking a break. A lot of people look at that card and think it means that you're dead, but so the same with the 10 of swords, but neither one of them means that. The 4 of swords is about taking a break, taking time out. And that's what you did, right? You separated, you took a break from each other. The 6 of swords, now let me tell you, when I get to the end of this reading, you're just going to be a little disappointed, but we're going to work with that. The 6 of swords is a card about a person who gets from where she is now to where she wants to be. So that's you. There's something you want out of this, and you're going to work to get it, right?
Right.
Now, here's the thing that you're not going to like at the moment, but we'll work with it. It's the 2 of swords, and that's a person who's stuck and can't go this way or that way. It's a card about a stalemate. It's a card about a relationship that's stuck, that nothing is going to happen. Swords is a little bit of a different thing here. That's telling me the ace of swords means seeing things in a new way of thinking, because swords are also about mental activity.
Right.
And in this sense, it's telling me that there's a possibility that you and your ex's attitudes may change. I'm not counting it out. And I can't count it out because of that 6 of swords cards, which shows me that you're the kind of person who can try to get what she wants. So keep in mind, this is just fascinating that all 5 cards are swords.
It's funny because we fussed and we fought for a long time after the breakup. Now we're able to actually talk. We're like, we don't argue no more. We get along a whole lot better. Like, our attitudes towards each other has actually changed.
Well, there you go. That's the Ace of Swords. There's a new way of seeing. While you were talking, as a reader does, I pulled another, and I got another ace. Now, aces are beginnings. Remember, I said the Ace of Swords, you're beginning to see things in a new way, and so is your ex.
Right.
The next is the Ace of Cups, and that is the beginning of emotional happiness. So I think you have a good shot at it. I told you that 2 of Swords is going to be a little disappointing because it means that you're stuck and the situation isn't going to change. But that only means it isn't going to change now. Okay? These cards now show me that there's a very strong chance of it changing in the future. Now, you mix that with the 4 of Swords that I got earlier, and it's telling me that you just may need a little time out. Now, again, I want to go back to the 6 of Swords, because you, a person of action, and maybe you just want to hold off a little while, because that's difficult for you. See, this is the problem. 4 of Swords is a person taking time. The 6 of Swords is a person making things happen. So you've got this dual attitude going, right? You don't know, should you do this or should you not do it? Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, see, aren't these cards wonderful? Isn't it wonderful how they work? Well, my answer to you is give it time, but I'm going to take one more card, and seeing card may add something to this. How's that?
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. Oh, man. You know something? This was the card that was on my mind. I could not give you a better card. It's the Chariot. You know what the Chariot is? If it's a Chariot, shows a lot of decks show a guy on a little 2 horses, and one horse wants to go this way and the other horse wants to go that way, and you, as the driver of the Chariot, are holding it together and you're making it happen. So that's the card that I put underneath the 4 of Swords and the 6 of Swords. That doesn't really help much. It explains the situation exactly the way I told you, is that you have conflicting forces that you got to deal with. But that's telling me that you can deal with it. Let's look at a card for the ultimate outcome. The ultimate outcome, I had this earlier for someone, is the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is perfected happiness. So you're moving from the 10 of Swords, which is about something bad is over, to the 10 of Cups, which is about something wonderful and happy. So I think that I'm going to give you exactly what I read in these cards. Things are changing for you and your ex. They're changing for the better, but you still need time. Okay? So you are definitely evolving. These things, I can't imagine a reading more on point. I think you're coming into getting exact shot at it. And that's a long way from that first card of somebody, the Ten of Swords, which shows a person lying face down in the mud with swords in her back. You know, that's a long, to go from there to the Ten of Cups, that's beautiful. So keep doing what you're doing, but just pull back a little bit, because I think that it requires a little more daintiness, if that's the word. Just let it flow naturally. According to the flow of these cards, you're getting there. You're getting what you want.
Okay, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Danielle. It's been great talking to you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And we'll shuffle them up again. What a dynamic reading that was. You know, we live for that, we readers. We really do. And it's funny, you see, even before the subject of how's the ex doing came up, I had those sword cards, you know, that told me that there was a relationship that ended, or something that ended. I just understood it to be a relationship by looking at the other cards. That's how it goes, you know, and that's marvelous.